So we're finding an interesting distinction that there are military interventions with a humanitarian component and that there are humanitarian interventions with a military component. And I think that's a little bit where the dividing line is. But I want to move to another topic that your opponents brought up again. I'll bring this to you, Kori. They talked about having public support at home. So you're an American citizen. You know the political situation there. There's a president who's arguing for an America First policy. There are national priorities like, say, the opioid crisis or education or even paying for infrastructure. Today, as your opponents say, how could a president who wants to persuade the American people to be behind a humanitarian intervention using military force in somebody else's country, using their treasure and their blood?
So my favorite reflection on the war weariness of the American public actually comes from the satirical newspaper, The Onion, which argues that the nation's college professors are weary of the burden they're carrying of our wars, right? Because the nation's college professors aren't carrying the burdens of our wars. And in fact, the American public hasn't objected to this President of the United States with his America First doctrine from increasing troops fighting in Afghanistan, from increasing troops fighting in Iraq, from increasing troops fighting in Syria, from increasing troops fighting in the Sahel. Those are not all humanitarian interventions, but if the American public were so weary of the burden of war, the president would be paying some political price for that. And in fact, what you see is the reverse, right? Your average American gets drawn out into the world by the expressions of our values.
Let's take that point to your opponents. Frank first.
Whether President Trump never sends another soldier abroad, the United States are in hock for $5.6 trillion for what's gone on over the last 16 years. That's the cost, never mind the 6,000 dead soldiers, 60,000 injured soldiers, and all the other political costs. You're in hock for that already. And I would suggest to you that there's very little appetite for another dollar being spent on that kind of intervention.